All right, hello and welcome to the first inaugural episode of Sheroic. I'm Kenya Halliburton and I'm here with Glenda Jones, author of God Speaks in the Kitchen. And we're going to talk to you more about her book and share her wonderful story. Glenda is a cook and a chef, and she specializes in helping women, not just women, but people eat better, eat healthier, cook healthier, and live healthier lifestyles. So welcome, Glenda, to
Hello.
Hey. So the show is all about having candid conversations with extraordinary women entrepreneurs on their journey to life, love, and happiness. And so, Glenda, I'm so glad that we are getting to do this. We have been working, I know you've been working tirelessly to promote your book and get your book finished. And I'm so excited. I'm going to show everybody the book here. God Speaks in the Kitchen. I have my copy, and me and my kids are looking forward to cooking some of this good stuff this summer for summer break. So how are you, Glenda?
I'm doing great. It's an amazing day. Father's Day, so
Yeah,
I'm going to be preparing to cook a meal for my husband this afternoon.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, let's get into our interview because I want as many people as possible to really be able to benefit from your wisdom and your brilliance and your talents. So let's get into it. So tell us a little bit about yourself before I kind of get into my questions.
Okay. I will be 50 years old this year. Ooh, I said that out loud. Um, that is weird. It just doesn't seem realistic, but it's a reality. I've been married 25 years. I birthed 3 children. I have 4. Um, they they love to eat around here, and you have families, food. It makes us happy, so that's what we do. We cook, we eat. I remember seeing this movie years ago, and it says, you prepare the field, they'll come. If I cook, they'll come,
Mm-hmm.
and all their friends and everybody else. So that's what we enjoy around
Well, I think it's fascinating. I'm always fascinated by, and this is going to sound really, really bad, but do not judge me.
here.
I'm always fascinated by women who cook. I am, I won't say I can't cook. I just have not been as proactive and happy about it. But since my own son has been diagnosed with ADHD, I have been more inspired to do so just to kind of help him process. And I know you have a similar story as well in terms of your family members needing we're going to get in your cooking skills to help them heal. And so let's get into all of that because I feel like this is the most powerful aspect of your story. So the first
Mhm.
question I have for you is, you've been a chef or a cook. Um, first of all, when did that start for you? Have you always enjoyed cooking?
As far back as I can remember, and let me say this first of all, no judgment on those who don't enjoy cooking, but we enjoy living, so we have to eat. So my theory is if we want that to be the healthiest that we can get, giving our body good fuel to function, then sometimes we have to cook. And I want to make that simple, easy, and take out the work.
Mm-hmm.
As far as when I started cooking, I was a kid following my grandmother, who everything was around food. It was a lot of us. She had a lot of children and grandchildren. And anytime there was a birthday, every month we had a birthday party because somebody fell in that month, and it was all around food. So I'd say I was about 9, 10 years old or something, and I cooked a scrambled egg in a cast iron skillet with no oil. That was the first thing I can remember cooking all by myself.
Uh-huh.
It was interesting.
How did it turn out?
Very interesting. You could imagine just exactly how that turned out. Let's just say it was not one of my favorite gourmet meals, but I came a long way from there. So from that point, I would rush home off the school bus to meet my mom home because I wanted to start the meal, and I wanted to prepare all this food. And I just started creating in the kitchen. You don't know what I called a lot of the things, but most of it was actually good, and they ate it.
Wow, that's amazing. A lot of our purpose finding, those patterns in our purpose start when we're children. So that's really
Mhm.
cool. So tell us, what was your life like before, um, well, you had a interesting event happen in your life. Um, Tell us about that kind of briefly, because I know we're going to dig into it later, but tell us a little bit about that and what your life was like before, um, you had to kind of change the way you did things in the kitchen.
Okay. Like I say, I always loved to cook. So, me, macaroni and cheese and the whole everything from the turkey to the ham to you name it, I fixed it. And my husband became very, very sick in about for almost 3 years. He was really, really sick. To move was a struggle. To function was almost impossible on some days. And through that experience, we were encouraged to try dietary changes. And we tried everything. Somebody said juice. Yeah, I did that. 25 pounds of carrots a week. Somebody said no sugar, no this, no that. And so I went through experimenting with all these things to try to help him. And it was that experience, that life-changing experience, seeing him evolving like a butterfly, changing into something better, feeling better through what we eat, through diet. I mean, it's saving our lives one bite at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was, I guess, a summary.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's powerful. A lot of times it takes some sort of event, and I know a lot, especially in the African American community, we love the soul food.
I got an interrupter just coming in my house. I'm babysitting my godchild, and he's just busted in on here, and then I had the door locked back
It's
up.
all good. Big ambitions, complicated lives. Trust me, I'm hoping that the mic is not picking up my children in the back screaming after I told them not to. So it's fine. Um, so so okay, so this thing happened, with your husband,
Hmm.
and you realized that you had to kind of change the way you did things. Was was there a reluctance to step into, this space of cooking healthy for you?
Oh, definitely. We ended up at a lifestyle center, and they took everything processed away, went completely plant-based, and this was a night-and-day shock for me. Now, we had already, I told you before going there, attempted to start being healthier, but the thought of taking everything away, that was, I'd not heard of that. I'm like, why do I have to eat different to be different? I didn't know that that was something that affected how we did things, but it did. So it was a definite reluctant. And the other thought was, how in the world am I going to do this? I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. How do I make this taste good? Because I will not live my life eating carb or flavored food.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting though is that your husband had this challenge, but you took it on as a family, right?
Exactly.
Instead of you saying, okay, well, I'm going to cook healthy meals for you, you also changed the way that you ate, and the way that your children ate as well.
Well, we didn't want him to get better, and we stayed, the same. It was, we all going to go, we're in this together. And that was support for him, saying, you can get through this, we can do this. And if it's going to help him, then definitely I want some of it too. Because I realize now at that time I had challenges. At 22, they told me that my cholesterol was genetically high. I was well over 200, about 250, I think. And my cholesterol was just high. And they said that that's just the way it was going to be. And I would ultimately have to have medication. Well, today my cholesterol is perfect and has been for many years because there's no cholesterol in plant-based foods unless you put it there.
Wow. That's amazing. They say food is medicine,
Food is definitely medicine.
and we forget that. So that's incredible. So so you've made this change, but you also, this change that you did in terms of the way that you cook also facilitated you writing a book. So
Hmm.
talk to us a little bit, kind of dual purpose. Talk to us a little bit about the obstacles you faced in, making the transition to healthy cooking, but also some of the obstacles you faced in, writing the book.
Okay. I remember feeling lost, walking into a health food store for the first time and looking at all these things with all these different names, not knowing where to begin, where to start, what it looked like, what it did, just feeling overwhelmed and confusion. And I walked in the store and I stayed in there looking around about 10 minutes. I walked out the store and got in my car.
Mm.
And I had to get it together to go back in the store. And after that experience and after conquering that battle, I always wanted to share with someone that you don't have to be confused. You don't have to know. I wasted a lot of money trying things that were no good, that I didn't like, because it's an experimental journey. I wasted a lot of time. Time is money. We don't want to do that either. So it became my mantra, I guess you'd say, to share that with others, to go in and say, hey, let me show you how to do this. Let me show you that there's an easier way. Even so much today that if I'm in the grocery store, it never fails. I'll get into some conversation with someone. My daughter told me one time that they need to hire me because I'm at the health food store and I'm working telling the people where stuff is and what they need to get and what they can do with it. So it just becomes, it's a joy for me. So I'm a walking billboard for health because I know it works. I see it work. So definitely lots of challenges, lots of giants. But through that experience, I never thought that I could write that book. My title is God Speaks in the Kitchen. So in my book, I talk about an experience where I realized that that's where God spoke to me. And that's why I was having to do some cooking. And I was challenged to create recipes for a health food store that used to be here at Garden Cove. And as I was challenged to create those recipes, they let me loose in their health food store like a kid at the candy shop to go and pick out any kind of food I want and create these recipes. And then I had to share it with the public. I had 2 hours to do this. And it freaked me out, honestly, initially. But it was an amazing thing because from there, I found myself saying, God, show me what to do. Mm-hmm. Just like I did in my own kitchen, because it becomes an experience of I'm talking to him. What do I do with this? And I literally hear him say, put this in there. No, don't do that. And I'm not one who tastes and cook.
Wow.
It's very visual for me. It's, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, what about this? And what about that? Wow. So as I was doing that day, I remember baking a pecan pie. Now imagine a pecan pie with no eggs, no dairy, and no high fructose corn syrup.
Oh my gosh.
A whole lot of flavor, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm baking this, and I've done this millions of times. So in this particular situation, I decided, let me just keep moving. And I'm cooking, just habitually working, doing what I do. And I did not seek God. I did not say, okay, God, what am I going to do? Because I was doing it in my own. Yet God is so merciful that even through all of that and that experience, as soon as I put that pie in the oven, I hear clearly, you forgot something. And I go, I forgot something. What? No, I didn't. And I'm going through the list and I did forget something. And I realized that I forgot a main ingredient. The pie would have been ruined. I would not have had time to go back and redo another one and would have disappointed the audience who now came just to see what I was doing every time. Mm-hmm. And I was able to really pull the pie out, to fix it, and to share it with the general public. And it was an amazing venture. So that experience taught me that God does speak to me. He shows me what I need. He will tell me how I need to do it. So it became my burden to share that with others, that even when you don't know where to start, there's a way. Even when you don't know how to begin that journey, it's one bite at a time. It's one step at a time. Yeah. You don't have to think about going in your cabinet and throwing out everything all at once. No. When we do that, we become overwhelmed and frustrated. Yeah. It's one step, one bite.
I love your approach, and I also love the connection to God in the process, because I know, and really with anything, when you're trying to change your lifestyle, change old habits around doing things, we take on that burden ourselves a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it can be overwhelming because there's so much information. I know I get freaked out standing in the grocery aisle trying to figure out what type of olive oil to buy. Why are there so many different kinds of olive oil, and trying to, pull up Google and, try to figure out what to do. And it can be very discouraging and cause you to quit. And so I think what's really powerful to me is that you tapped into your source and use that connection to kind of download what to do next and how to do it. And rely on him to make to kind of cook the food, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
And I think that was just so huge for me. But the greatest challenge was to take that experience from the kitchen to everywhere else. So when the call came for me, oh, you got to share this. You got to do this. You have to write a book. I'm going, me, Lord, write a book? I just knew he was, what?
Wait, so, okay, so you had this call, this change to help you and your family heal and be better and feel better and live a healthier lifestyle. But then you got the revelation to say, okay, now you have to share this with others. So what was your response to that? Like, walk us through that whole process. Like, did you try to run away from it?
Oh, I was definitely Jonah, let me say. It was very frightening for me because at that point, that meant that I was vulnerable. And it became not just what I'm saying, but I'm having to live that. And it was just panicked. And I think the first thing I had, my neighbor, who was a pastor at, I don't even remember what church it was, but he says, hey, can you come and do this for us at my church? Can you come and do a cooking class? I went into panic mode. I got to stand up in front of people and tell them what? What if I don't know and I can't do it? I went like Moses. I can't do this and I can't speak and I can't find this and and that whole panic thing.
Yeah.
And God said, you got to do this. And I knew I had to do it. And I literally, I felt like hyperventilating. But I'm walking through the motions and I'm doing it. And I am panicked. But when I walked out there, when I had that audience of people, it became me, him, and them.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to do that. And it's a high for me. It became an exciting event for me. And every single time before I do that, I always go into a panic mode. Even now, I have to say, okay, God, let me go back to what I know. Let me go back to you. Because I'm going, but what if I mess up?
Yeah.
And that's the key. I'm caught in the eye, not the
yes.
I'm caught in the eye.
Yes, that's what stood out to me. Like, you're kind of forced to have that collaborative partnership with God and stay connected to him and not make it about you.
Exactly. And I have to. And I have to go, to God be the glory, because every single time he has amazed me in using me to help his people. And that has just been, that's exciting. And so he had to say, well, honey, why don't you go in expecting me to do that I'm going to do? Because I've already showed you that I can through you.
Yeah. So talk to us. So, writing this book, changing the way that you cooked and the way that you did things. Tell us what it was like. What giants have you had to fight? We talked about the obstacles, but what giants have you had to fight and, getting to the point where you were actually able to write the book, getting to the point where you could actually change, the way that you did things. Talk to us about some of those giants that you've had to slay.
One of my greatest lessons that I am the greatest giant that needs to be fighting, the me. And that self-doubt and the enemy's voice of you're not enough. You can't. You're ADHD. Me, I'm hyper. People I know that know me, that you sat down and did what? You wrote a book. So, for me to actually sit down and take the time to do that, this was a 7-year journey. Our house was hit in the storm in 2011. And after that experience, we were in an apartment. And this apartment was beige and dull, and I'm super colorful, so I love color because it's life. It makes me happy. And I'm in this dungeon of an apartment is what I called it. I refused to cook. The emotions of the storm, now I have nothing, what I'm going to do, this whole drama in my head, I just quit cooking. So my girlfriend came and she was talking to me. And through that thing, I had this dream that I was going to write this book. And I said, I'm supposed to write this book. I don't know how to write this book. Where do I start? And we're talking about what to do. And she said, so what do you feel? And I'm going, I feel like God tells me what to do. He speaks to me in the kitchen. She says, well, Glenda, that's the title of your book.
Wow.
It is. And that was 7 years prior to me actually getting it published. Because I sat on it and I thought about it. And that giant of I can't, fear, who am I? Why should I write? People are going to know that I have all these issues now. They're going to really see me and not that facade that I put up of oh, I'm good. Everything's wonderful. But they're going to really see my heart issue because my book is not just a cookbook. It is different and unique in that it's a devotional cookbook. So I could tell you how to do a recipe all day long. My favorite thing to do is to take your recipe and show you how to convert it to something healthier. I can do that day and night, but to actually share my heart with you, to
Yeah.
share the moments of God speaking to me in other areas of my house, my head. That was huge, a very big giant, a very big challenge to get through. And then once my words are on the paper, me not trusting that that's enough or
Yeah.
that it's good enough or that I messed up.
Yeah. And that's what strikes me about this. I mean, there definitely are recipes in here, but I love the devotionals at the beginning. Um, so talk to us about that, because there's a devotional at the beginning of, is it every recipe or is
It's every section.
section? Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about, oh, before we do that, talk to us specifically about, because there's a section in here you talk about fear.
Mm.
I know you mentioned that has been one of the giants. And for me, knowing you, that to me, you are a poster child and a great model for how to deal with fear, and attack it and not let it get in the way of your dreams. So talk to us a little bit about that fear and how you slayed it, and what that process has been like for you, overcoming that fear and in order to really show up and deliver this, this and your gift to the world.
Oh, fear has been paralyzing for me. I once heard someone say, and then I learned later that I think it was Zig Ziglar that wrote, "Fear is false evidence appearing real." It's a situation that's not a real situation. It's real to me at that moment, and it appears real. But just because it's there, that doesn't mean that it actually is. So, in order to write this book, God sent me on a journey to be overcome challenges and those fears. And so my book was definitely for me, probably more or as much as for anybody else. I am afraid of water, panic to death over water, can't swim. All my children can swim, but I can't swim a lick. So I decided all of those things that have paralyzed me for years at that moment, in order to be successful and to actually hear God and do what he wanted, I had to look those things head on.
Mm,
So I decided I'm going swimming. I did swimming lessons.
wow.
Crazy. I'm in the pool. I'm telling them I'm going to do it. I'm panicked. But my theory was, and my whole motto was, be afraid, feel the feeling, and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell the teacher, wait, I can't do this. I am afraid. Give me a minute. I'm scared to death, but I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end of that lesson, when I jumped off in the deep end, it was remarkable for me to do that. And I'm scared to death, but I did it.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. Another thing that I did was I'm afraid of heights, probably even more so than water.
Mm.
And I went with my son on a youth trip, and we ended up ziplining at midnight. So I had made my mind up. Anything that I'm super afraid of, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Because I cannot say I trust God.
Yes.
Because he says that that's not his spirit in us. That fear, that's not of him. And I'm saying, I trust you, God, yet I'm afraid.
Yeah.
He's saying, baby, I got a blessing for you. I just need you to share what I've given you to the world, but you're afraid.
Right.
So he had to show me in all these little things that I'm still there. I'm there. And when I climbed this tree, me, scared to death, climbed the tree, and then I had to walk across another tree to the platform, I am panicked. And all I could think about is look at me. I heard him say, look at me. So I'm looking straight ahead, not looking down, just look at me and keep walking. Here, focus, hear me. And I get to the platform and they say, now you got to jump. And I'm thinking, I cannot see anything. This is midnight. It's the abyss. My control mechanism that I like to know what's going on before it happens, it's horrible. How am I going to jump? But I hear, be afraid. Yes, you're scared. Speak it. So I had to say, I am scared, but I'm going to do it. The next thing I know, I just took off. And then I opened my eyes, and what I saw was a gift to me. It was beautiful. The night sky was so pretty. The stars were just blinking and beautiful that I found myself laughing as I was flying through the air. Now I'm afraid, but I'm just like, what I thought was so bad really wasn't. It was an amazing journey. I loved it. I
Wow.
do it again. And so there were just many of those type of experiences that he took me through that I had to share. And sometimes when diet changes, when we've been eating one way for 100 years or, 40, 50 years or whatever, and we know that we need to change, that's scary. That's like jumping into the dark.
Yeah.
And he sends the light, the ray of light from those stars to say, here I am. And I am that star, one of his that said, hey, let me help you. I can show you how to do this. It's not so bad. And then in the end, you get to enjoy those foods that you usually like. I show you how to take them and make them healthy, how to make those collard greens without that hair mark. It can be done.
Yes. Oh, Glenda, that brings me so much joy. I'm over here trying not to tear up when I'm tearing up because I'm a crybaby.
Don't start. I'll help you.
But that metaphor was so powerful. Not being able to see anything, and it's dark. And I think in so many areas of our lives, I mean, this is not just in the kitchen, which is
Mm-hmm.
even how your book addresses things. This is every part of your life. And we
Exactly.
have so many challenges with fear and feeling like we want to see like the steps ahead to be secure. Like, okay, there's a step there, and there's a few more steps there. Okay, so I can walk this way. But to do something in spite of not seeing anything, and it's just such a powerful statement. And also, I think the fact that you have taken fear and just kind of grabbed it by the horns and said, look, you here, I'm here, and we're going to do this regardless, right? Like, I think that's such a powerful, just a powerful principle to get. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Feel the fear, do it anyway. And I decided I'm not going out like that. I am no longer missing the blessings that God has for me because I'm afraid.
Hmm.
And that's the first thing. When I make the step to trust him, to move past the fear, he's going to carry me where I need to be. Because when I was in that water, the teacher says, okay, we're going to learn to float. The thought of that water coming in my face and up my nose, I get in the shower and will not allow the water in the shower to hit me in the face. This is how afraid of water I am, And I'm going, no, I'm not doing that. But I decided to do it. And when I did it, and I actually swam the length of the pool, the teacher's looking at me like, oh my gosh.
I love it.
And I hear him, and the teacher's saying, you got to let go in order to trust the water. Glenda, trust the water, let go. And I'm going, Lord, I'm trusting you. I'm going to let go. And I actually succeed. Those steps, those little steps that he sends us through, it builds us. It makes us stronger to be able to handle the next thing, because there's going to be a next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your favorite recipe in the book?
Oh my gosh. My favorite recipe in that book is probably, I'm going to say the pancake mix, because I was an Aunt Jemima queen or a Bisquick mix person years ago. You pull the big Bisquick and you just make your own.
Mhm.
And then when I started this venture, it's like, I can make my own Bisquick. I know what's in it. I can put, some healthier things in it, the omegas, flaxseed meal, some chia seed in there. I can use the whole grain flours
Yeah.
and create my own and have perfect pancakes, beautiful biscuits. So I think that was probably one of my favorite things. I create recipes like in my sleep. I wake up at night and go, hey, I could do this with that. So I don't know if I have a favorite, because I find that I cook a whole lot of things and I may not eat.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it just pours out of you. Well, this has just been amazing. I always love talking to you about food. We'll have to do this again so we can talk about specifically about diet and different food options,
Oh, definitely.
different health challenges or whatever. But thank you so much for just sharing your journey and being heroic and and sharing, showing up to write this book, because this is, I know for me, it's a blessing for me, and it's a blessing for others. And so really quick, not only did you write the book, because you talked about being afraid of, doing cooking classes and having challenges with that, but you do demos and workshops and cooking
Oh, man.
classes now, like, right?
Oh, definitely. That's one of my favorite things is to teach and share what he shared with me. So definitely I'll go to most churches, anywhere. You get a group of people, I'll walk in because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm on my journey of the path that God has set before me, and that's to share what he shows me. And that, so yeah, I love to do that. Give me an audience and you might have to tell me to shut up and feed you because
We're looking forward to just a bunch of great things from you. What really quick, in leaving and summing up, what would you tell someone who is in a place where they have to make a shift to eat healthier and is really struggling with doing it and struggling with the old patterns and, oh, it might not taste good and, the overwhelm? What would you tell someone that's in that space right now that really wants to change but is really having a challenge doing it?
I think the first thing I'd say is breathe.
Mm.
And it's a step at a time. And understand that my job is not to make you me. And this is one of the lines I love to say is, but to make you become a better you. Look at where you are. And life is just not for this moment. We're living for much longer than that. We're aiming toward eternity. And he who brought you to this moment can carry you to the next venture of where you need to be. And he will. And there's just so many different ways and so many different things to show and to do to help people. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It seems hard, but go to someone. Hey, call me.
Yeah.
Go to GodSpeaksInTheKitchen.com. Go somewhere and allow someone to help you through, because that's what we have to do. He says lean on each other.
Yeah.
And he'll give us what we need. And okay, you may not want to go to where I am. You may say, I'm not ready to be completely plant-based. That's fine. Incorporate more plant-based food into your living. Let me show you. Decrease your meat 1 day a week. Start there. Start with that 1 day. Increase your water intake. Start there. Get outside and breathe that wonderful fresh air that gives oxygen to our blood and helps our bodies. Start there. Get in the bed. Don't stay up all night. Get that proper rest to help rebuild, because our body rebuilds when we're sleeping. Trust in God. That's just the most important thing to me, is to tap into who he is and know that he has you and he can carry you and he can help you to get to where you need to be so that you will become what he wants you to become, so that you will be a vessel that will hear him and be able to do what he has for you to do.
Thank you. That was so well said. So if you want to begin your journey one step at a time, go to GodSpeaksInTheKitchen.com to grab your copy. I think we're in pre-order right now, right?
Yes.
Pre-order your copy. Depending on when you're watching this, it may already be available for you. Go to GodSpeaksInTheKitchen.com, grab your copy today. And how else can people get in contact with you if they want to talk directly with you more about their journey to eat?
They can also email me at gjsweet.llc. GJ Sweet is my parent company's name. And they can email me gjsweet.llc@gmail.com. Or you can call me, text me at 256-655-8359. The other thing is, if you pre-order, not only do you get the devotional cookbook, but you also will receive a free quick start download that has some menu planning ideas in there. It has a menu planner in there. It has some tips and tricks, things that you don't even think of. Just some important quick information that will help you be more confident in this journey.
Yeah. Wonderful. Go check it out. God Speaks in the Kitchen. It's a plant-based cookbook devotional with gluten-free options. It's all about feeding the body and the soul. Glenda A. Jones. Thank you so much, Glenda.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Glenda. What that word was.
All right. Thank you, Kenya.
All right. See you next time on Sheroic. Bye, everyone.